Hello and welcome to the Content Universe. Today we want to talk about content, we want to talk about branding, we want to talk about especially about storytelling. And this is a special episode, so luckily for you, I am not alone in the studio. With me I have one who really knows what he's talking about. So let's try and see what we can get out of Fredrik Hillerbrand. And Fredrik, welcome to you. Just a quick introduction to you. You are right now in a double position, so to say. You have two jobs. So you have your own company where you work as a creative producer. It's called Open Door. And then you also work as the head of growth at a company called Connie, who handles contracts mainly for the creative industry. And then I think it's probably fair to say also that some of your experience comes from, or a lot of your experience comes from the regular traditional media. So you've been working with production of Danish television series for one for quite a few years. Does that kind of cover who you are in 10 to 15 seconds?
Yeah, I'll definitely live with that. Yeah, it's I've been CEO of Danish production companies for 18 years, and through the last 2.5 years, I've been working with as my own independent source, and also working together with this beautiful company called Connie, which helps the film and TV industry with contracts and that likes legal documents and stuff like that.
Like, I think one of the interesting things to talk about today and to hear your opinion on is, what is storytelling? Because you come from a place where the story is everything. And now you also work with business to business companies. How do you kind of merge those two worlds? What is storytelling to you?
Well, storytelling is many things. It's conflict, right? It's arcs. It's emotional attachment. It's character. It's a lot of things. And I think, with the right type of brands, I think that they really can profit from good storytelling and understanding their own story if they have one. I mean, it's not something that you could force upon somebody. But if you have a clear story and a true purpose, I think it's really good to make use of it.
Okay. You say you can't force a story. I have the same feeling with the Simon Sinek, you know, the why circle. So you have to find your why and you have to communicate that. I have that kind of same feeling, like if you're just producing nails, right? Or some even maybe that's a dull example, but sometimes there is no why. There is just the product.
Imagine the hours spent in boardrooms trying to define a why after that book came out. I mean, it's been such a waste of time for so many companies, but everybody believed that they had to have it,
But you say the same thing about the story.
Yeah, I do.
Elaborate.
I mean, if you have an emotional attachment to a universe or to a feeling or anything like that, then of course you should tap into that and elaborate it and make use of it in your branding. But if you don't have it, don't try to get one, because we will see through that, and the imposter syndrome will haunt you, and you will get exposed.
This is so new. This is new information to me. Just like all the boardrooms, they've been sitting drawing the how, what, and why circles, Simon Sinek circles. I am absolutely sure that all marketing departments in all companies, they have at least once during the last 5 years, they've thought, okay, we need to create a story.
Yeah. What? I think so too. and I think
is that a bad idea?
No, I think many just have spent their time wrongly. I think, sometimes the story is we are cheaper than our competitor, and sometimes it's emotional attachment. It's through the founder's vision. There can be many ways into a story, but if you don't have it, I think a stuffed story that is superimposed will get exposed and and derail the branding of the company, I think.
Can you think of a situation where this has happened? Maybe not to throw anyone particular under the bus, but where you see that this is not working.
Yeah, well, I think you see it quite often. Actually, I'm not going to put names on it, but I think that it's been so hyped throughout the years that that I think that many have walked into blind alleys, and it feels hollow, in a way. And I don't think you get the right emotional attachment with the customer if you're a phony, and if you don't know the base and the fundament of the story you're going to tell, and it's just attached to your company. I think it's going to be. I think you're wasting your time.
I'm wondering, how can you detach the branding or the narrative there is around branding? So branding in particular, how do you do that without the storytelling? Can you still do those? How are they different?
How you detach what? Sorry, the branding from the storytelling? But
yeah, I think to me and to many others, branding and storytelling, they go hand in hand. It's the same thing. It's just two different words for the same thing. But I know that that's probably wrong. But how do you then separate branding from storytelling? Can you create a brand without a story?
Oh, I'm not an expert in that. I mean, branding is strategy plus identity, right? And storytelling is expression. And I don't know if you have that expression necessarily within your company, but if you have to attach that to the company, but I'm not a traditional marketeer. I also must say that. I work with stories, and I want to tell long-form stories because I want to have the true emotional attachment, and I believe that many companies can benefit from that, especially the long-form and the attachment that goes with that. But I just don't think it's for everyone, and I don't think that every company should invent a story if they don't have it.
What kind of stories do you think are beneficial? What kind of stories are there?
Well, imagine if you have a brand like if you sell jewelries or and can get that get love to be your feeling or the emotion that you go with, and you want to be the storyteller of the reliever of love, or then of course, imagine the amount of stories you can tell. If you look at reality TV that I've been working a lot with, how great attachment we have from the audience there, and the true following and the voluntary following of something. And if you can attach to tap into a feeling like that as a brand, I think you can make huge attachment to a very big attachment and true attachment to the viewers and to your customers.
So I just drew up here on my little notepad. So you would have the brand as the center stage. It's the foundation. It's the middle of the circle, so to say. And then would you then attach different stories to that is telling the brand story, or that is not telling the brand story? That's kind of confusing. But
now telling the value. If you have a brand that attach very closely to a certain value, then I'd definitely go out on a limb here and say that that you can create storytelling around that value that creates true attachment and true emotions with the viewers, and that's what TV people are great at. We can develop and create formats that creates a strong attachment with the viewers, and we can keep them in that universe and have fans and stuff like that, true fans that meet up and watch things together and chat about it and listen to podcasts about it, and if you have those values that can benefit from that kind of storytelling, I think there are lots of opportunities to benefit from storytelling.
I think you just broadened my own marketing mind, my own branding mind, because to me, storytelling in marketing and in branding has been, you have one brand, you then also have one story. So you have the story about the brand, or it's kind of part of the same thing. Whereas you talk about basically having a lot of different stories, or building stories, but they should all communicate the same brand values.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you have that value, there is no end to the amount of stories you can attach to it, right? And we did this beauty pageant a long time ago together with a company called Aquador, and they had this: we're natural. We want things to be natural and true. It was water that they produced, right? Mineral water. And so the contest in that sense was about making a natural beauty pageant, the natural beauty and stuff like that. So that was the value for them, and we could easily build a storytelling brand around that. With Carlsberg, we produced a series about how beer changed the world, and Carlsberg is, of course, a company with lots of fantastic stories, and they have all the best stories. So it's easy.
There's a whole TV series about Carlsberg, right?
Yeah. There's more than one actually. So and now there's one about Guinness as well. But I mean, if you have those values and a value-driven companies, it's of course easier than if you're just selling something that's cheaper than your.
But Fredrik, are we then coming back to the why circle?
Yeah, well, if you have it, I mean, use it. But if you don't have it, don't spend hours in boardrooms to create something that's not there. I mean, don't inflate a phony statement, right? I mean, it depends on how you're built. For example, if I use Connie as an example, I mean, it's so easy to tell our why because it's created for creators, and our only aim is to make it easier for the film and TV production companies to comply and to be safe and sound and save money and stuff like that. So it's very easy to tell our story. But if we didn't have that, I would rather not try to attach a story to the brand, right?
But I mean, in some sense, all brands, or maybe not the brands themselves, but let's then say the companies, all companies, they have some story because all companies has been started from one or two founders, or how many.
Yeah.
So you can always tell the founder story and the development story. So those stories you can always kind of dig up from where they are. But I wonder, in your experience, now you mentioned Carlsberg, you mentioned Aquador. In your experience, do consumer brands have an easier access to stories than business to business brands?
Ooh, I don't. That's a very good question, and I'm not sure I have the answer for that. But I think what we are more used to being exposed to consumer products and the stories around them, right? I think that is maybe, at least I am. And since I'm not a traditional marketeer in that regard, I also think that I have probably a lot of blank spaces that you can fill me in on. But I think. I don't know. I think that the amount of exposure towards consumer brands is probably higher in that regard, and maybe we also talk more into the emotion of in consumer products than we do in business to business products.
Could also be that some of the emotions that a consumer brand talks into are different from the values and the value of words that business to business brands they talk into. And here I'm just thinking, I don't think I can think of one B2B brand that has love for the natural beauty as, it's a very emotional thing. So it's a very powerful emotion where a lot of what I meet, at least, is many I work mainly with engineering companies, and what I see is that many engineering companies, they want to be trustworthy. They want to be reliable. They want to, never break down. those kind of things, and they also want to be perceived as professional. I love that one.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
hopefully, I really hope they are.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
They
exactly.
got other bigger problems if they don't. But do you know a company? I mean, a Danish company called Zendesk. When they started, I mean, it was also all about we can take your customer service and make it easier for you, and you can relax and have a good. We will take care of all that for you and make your life easier. That was kind of an emotional value that they used as a marketing tool, right? So I mean, I think it exists within business to business brands as well.
Maybe people just don't dare go so far beyond what they sell, far beyond the product, to lean very much into that emotion and lean very much into the story itself. Because, I mean, if you create, Coca-Cola basically invented Santa Claus, right? And that's because they leaned into something that's completely different from their actual product, right? You can pass by everyone knows how the Coca-Cola Santa Claus looks like, right? It's a perfect Santa. Everyone knows it, and you can pass by a billboard with just him on without the Coke, and you still get that Coke connection. And I feel like sometimes B2Bs, they don't dare go far enough out in the pursuit to actually lean into a story that's not something to do with their particular product. I don't know if I'm just rambling, but
no, I don't know, but I think that I think it might be more important when you sell your products direct to consumer, that the emotional attachment is there, and maybe you look at other factors when you do a business to business transaction. I'm not sure. I'm guessing here, right? So, but I don't, it's. I think the analysis that we go through, depending on the industry, of course. But I mean, if I was to buy a robot to my into my industrial construction site, I would probably do another analysis that is a little bit more than just emotional.
And also, you would have more people look at it, so more people are involved in the buying, of course. Yeah. I wonder, how do you, now you say that you shouldn't artificially create a story on some Simon Sinek workshop value that you found out 2 days ago. Instead, you should find stories that you already have, or even like leave it, like just don't go storytelling. But I still want to ask you, how do you create a story, or what are the building blocks in a good story? So say you have some sense of that this could probably turn into a good story, but what would your approach be?
I would always start with the value and the product, of course, to say, okay, where do you come from, and what is the goal? What do you want to achieve with this? And do you want to get stronger attached to a certain value, for example? Because that's doable. We can attach you stronger to a certain value through the stories we tell, right? So we can make your company become closer attached to that. But then you as a company must live up to that, right? You must prove that the story we told about you is bulletproof, because otherwise you're gonna be exposed, right? So what we have to do is, of course, find the building blocks. If you do long arch, we have to have conflict. And conflict can be, I don't have love and I want to find love. That's conflict, or it can be many other things. So conflict is just it's the base of every story, right? And then you have to have development through that. You have to go up and down, and you have to almost make it and then don't make it, and there has to be resistance and stuff like that. And we have to go through all that in order to get the right emotional attachment, which will keep the viewers hanging in there, right?
And do you need to go through all that, even if it's just No, I'm thinking different kinds of media. So recently I've seen both the movie 1917, which is the First World War movie, which is a brilliant movie shot in it looks like a one take. Obviously it's not, but it's a brilliant movie and it's very well executed. Has a lot of what you're just saying. So it has a lot of love and there's a lot of conflict. You captured here. We need this outcome, and without exposing the story itself, because I think people really should watch it themselves. A lot of things happen, right? And I've also recently watched Amélie, the fabulous Amélie, which of course is an old film. I've watched it many times, but it has all of those components that you mentioned as well. And that's a love story, right? I wonder, those are both, plus 1.5 hour long. Do all of those components, do you need to compress them? Say you want to make a commercial for TV. Do you still need all of those components? Or how to chop it up? And I could even go further down and say, okay, what if it's not a 20-second commercial for TV? Maybe it's a 10-second clip for social media, or maybe it's even a still picture on social media.
Well, it has to catch your attention, right? And there has to be a problem, at least, that you are interested in. I mean, can there be, can this be true? Can Jean-Claude Van Damme actually stand on those two Volvo trucks?
Two Volvo trucks.
Or will he fall down? I don't know,
And such a brilliant commercial as well.
Yeah, and you know what? It's because it's true, It's because Volvo's attachment to, they're so closely connected with safety, right? And I have no idea. Maybe you can do that on any truck. I have no idea, but I believe
Probably.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
But I believe in Volvo because they have always been so closely attached to safety. So I think it's probably better to do that on a Volvo truck. And I'm not going to buy a truck anyway, right? Am I?
Yeah. No. But you might buy a Volvo car, though. Right?
Yeah. And
you might buy the car.
I have.
You have.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So and it's because we believe that story, right? And I think in the still pictures, that's not where I'm coming from. And there are so many people that are better to talk about still commercials that are still pictures. But I think the good stories, even regardless how short they are, presents a problem, have some kind of conflicts, and it, of course, makes you curious, right? But of course, nowadays, especially on social media, you just get exposed to I can fix your windows, I can polish your Volvo, and then it's about availability, credibility, and price, right? So there are different angles to it, of course. I don't think that it's necessary to put all short commercials through the scheme, but it might help you at least.
Actually, I think, now that I think about it, when we produce a social media post for ourselves or for one of our clients, I think it's the same thing. It just has different names. So we would be working with what's called the hook, right? So, and that on social media, the hook, or at least on LinkedIn, that's like the first 2, maybe up to 3 lines of text in the post. And a good hook, now that I think about it, has problem or conflict inside of it, right?
Yeah.
It has, if I from this interview that we're doing right now, if I create a hook that says nothing new under the sun, storytelling and social media, blah, 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 it's the same thing. That's a statement that has some conflict in it, because I'm now telling people reading it that what you are trying to learn, don't spend time on that online course having to write the hook. Just go back in your preschool lectures and read about how to build a story.
Yeah, dramaturgy.
Yeah. I just came to think about that. I wonder, what if you have one company and you say, okay, we have this story that is more or less constructed by us. Now the story is changing. Particularly, one of my clients is in the defense industry, and before Russia entered Ukraine, their story, they toned down maybe a little bit. I think they did. They probably toned down the defense bit, the military bit. Then, Russia enters Ukraine. History happens. Now it's the same story. They still do the same thing, but the world around the story changed. So now they have to change. I would argue that their story is probably getting easier because they don't have to kind of hide themselves anymore. They can now be more proud.
I really hope it is. I would say so too. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course that's the case for them, but you could easily say something the opposite. We have Echo, the shoe brand, right? They have the opposite thing because they didn't withdraw their stores from Russia or whatever. I can't remember. But
yeah. No, but there are many. I mean,
how do you change your story? That's actually my core question here.
Yeah. Well, you tell it again from a different angle, right? And your values might also change, but they have to be true. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Even just your own values, like regardless of external environment.
Exactly. I mean, the focus changes from any company that follows the times as they are changing have to change strategy and sometimes purpose, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you can do that with high credibility if you're true to the story you tell and to the values that your company have, right? But if you try to fake your values and attach values that aren't the core values, then because it's trendy or smart or anything, I think you will. I don't think you will benefit from that.
And is it just, from tomorrow I'll start telling a new story, and then time works for me, or how does it work? Would you anticipate any like pushback or confusion?
That is probably a marketeer issue that more than that, because I'm not an expert in that, but I would say that you can just you can't take an opposite position, of course. I mean, you have to. It has to be close to the story you told yesterday. And otherwise, it might seem like greenwashing or whatever kind of washing you want to be part of this day, right? But I think if the storytelling is good, you can get away with a lot if it's closely connected to the true values of the company.
Yeah, so we're back to the true values. Oh, we're back to Simon Sinek now again.
Yeah, well, we are not necessarily, but I mean, you don't have to have a why. But I think, I mean, there's a reason for him being so successful with what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's because it makes you think, and it makes you, and which is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the board spending hours trying to figure out who they are if they don't know it on beforehand, and the reason for being might just be to give back dividends to the owner. I mean, we just want to make a profit, and we will do it in this way. But doesn't have to be a big purpose. I mean, it's okay.
I'm quite sure that it's very few companies that can bear that to go public with a Simon Sinek's why, where it is we want to build profit for our owners.
Yeah,
not many companies dare have that in the center. Like, you need to be an investment company basically to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Well, not a public bank. I mean, not for private, but yeah. No, but it's and then maybe you shouldn't tell. Keep it for yourself.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah.
I have just one last question before our time's up, and it is if you were to just look as far into the future as you dare do, whether it be 5 years, whether it be 6 months, with everything that's happening in branding, with everything that's happening, maybe even with AI taking over so many of the skills and tasks that people both in marketing departments, but also in your own position in the creative world, where do you see branding and marketing and storytelling in particular? So branding and storytelling, actually, that's what I'm asking. Where is that going? Is it going to become more important, less important, the same? Where do you see it going over the next,
Well,
year,
I definitely
maybe
think
more?
it's going to be more important because a lot of things has been around attention, right? Just having attention will drive everything from that, and I think that we've had it now for so many years that it has to be replaced, and it has to be replaced by a true attachment, and that is a chosen attachment due to emotions and how you feel around that. Right? So I believe that there are so many stories. Right? I just read the other day that Deezer, the music service, they can see that there are 5,000 new songs published every day on streaming services that are generated by AI. And some of them are beautiful songs. It's not that they're going to produce bad songs all along. The number one song in Sweden last week was an AI generated song, right? And it's a beautiful song. You can't say. I mean, it's really catchy. And to stand out from that, you have to be transparent, and you have to be open, and you have to be. I think it's annoying to talk about authenticity because it's misused and overused, but there's a reason for that as well. Because if you can really come through as authentic, you're going to benefit from that, and attach the story to the authenticity that you have. I think you're going to benefit from that in the long run.
I think it's a very good takeaway. I wrote that you should focus on not attention but attachment.
Yeah.
So the development goes from just optimizing for attention to optimizing for attachment. I think that's a brilliant statement, and also the fact that if you want to stand out more in a world of 5,000 songs produced with AI, you want to emphasize your humaneness.
Yeah.
Right. So the
Definitely,
more human you can come across, the better it actually is.
Yeah, because there are going to be lots of beautiful stories also within visual storytelling that comes from AI. And I mean, we can't just rule it out saying it's all going to be bad, because some things are going to be really, really good and create strong emotional value as well. So if you want to, as a brand, stand out, I think you really have to have a strong story and dare tell it. And if you have the value, put it in front and claim that space, right?
Yeah. Fredrik Hillerbrand, let's let those were the last words. If people wanna get in contact with you or follow you somewhere, where could they find you?
LinkedIn is probably the easiest.
LinkedIn's going to be the
easiest and the cheesiest, right? But it is what it is.
We could try search some Telegraph or Snapchat or something, but it will take a long time.
It'll take a long time. Yeah.
All right. Fredrik Hillerbrand, thank you so much for joining this conversation.
Thanks.
It was really interesting.
Thanks for having me, Mikkel.
And to the listener out there, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this special talk. I certainly did, and I have to rewrite my own internal code on how to perceive a story when we're talking branding. So I think that's very, very good. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, hit me up at podcast@montanos.co. And other than that, I'll just say see you in another planet in the content universe.